No better team to be on than to be with God and stand with Him and proclaim everywhere that church is essential.
All of what Laura was just reporting on happening as the provincial government in Manitoba defends its public health measures in court. 7 churches in the province are challenging the public health orders to combat COVID, saying they violate religious freedoms. Someone we are going to be watching for closely today, the province's chief public health officer. He is scheduled to testify. Cameron McIntosh is in Winnipeg. Looking ahead to that, the case and the argument from the churches. Good morning, Cam.
Hi, good morning, Heather. So just to be clear, this is 7 rural churches, most of them from south of Winnipeg. This is not the broader church community, the broader Christian community that is staging this charter challenge. This is a small group of churches that best defined as being very conservative in their views and probably best defined as being on the very right side of the spectrum when it comes to their interpretation of theology. They're launching they're basically arguing a charter challenge that the health restrictions currently in Manitoba infringe on their right to both gather and freedom of religion. You heard in that clip there, the one pastor saying that basically, the court is trying to overstep the word of God. Now, the province of Manitoba is arguing that its health restrictions right now are within reason given the state of the pandemic. It's basically arguing on the charter, the first clause of the charter, which says that rights can be limited and restricted when there's a demonstrable emergency or a demonstrable reason to do it. So that's what's basically going on here. And today we're going to hear from Dr. Brent Rusin, who is, the medical lead on our health restrictions here and has really been the face of the pandemic besides the premier here in Manitoba. So he's expected to go in this morning and defend medically what's been going on here. Now, this is happening in a Winnipeg court here today with 7 somewhat isolated from the rest of the Christian community churches arguing this, but this could have implications nationally. Similar charter challenges are planned right now in Saskatchewan and Alberta, so a lot of eyes on what happens here in Manitoba.
We've seen churches in Ontario take similar action, Cam, as well. So as we were just mentioning, this is sort of coming together today. We have the court challenge. We have as well calls from the doctors in Manitoba for the province to impose more restrictions. What are the latest concerns about the newest COVID numbers?
Well, it's the numbers themselves. And keep in mind, relative to Quebec and Ontario, Manitoba is a province of just 1.4 million people. Yesterday, 363 new cases. Put that in context. That's what we were seeing in early December, the last time we had that kind of case count, when Manitoba was getting to the top of its second wave, which at that point was the worst per capita case count we were seeing in the country. So 363 cases yesterday, a test positivity rate in Winnipeg right now, over 10%. Again, back in December, it hit around 15. And of course, the ICU, which is now over 50 patients. We've seen that modeling that CBC News, my colleague Bart Kivas obtained yesterday that says that, perhaps by the long weekend, Manitoba's at 60 cases, perhaps double that by the summer. So, troubling numbers here and a lot of calls on the provincial government to step in with a circuit breaker.
Cameron McIntosh, thank you very much, as always, live in Winnipeg for us this morning.